So I've often said that Brook's ability in Dawn of Liberation was one of the first abilities designed, if not the first ability design, and hasn't changed since the early part of the game. That is half true. Brook's ability was designed in the third version of the game, and its first ability that he had for the first and the second version of the game was a similar reference where it was about moving through spaces and damaging enemies on the way. But at that point in design, every single region had a stack of cards, think like a community chests type of stack of cards, and the allies, lore, enemies, all of that was in that stack. And different actions would let you reveal cards from that stack in different ways. Brooks would be reveal the top card when he entered the space on his move that he had to move 2 on, and in that first location, you could defeat an enemy on the way to the second location. But this did make me want to look at what other abilities characters had at this point and how have they evolved. Momonosuke and Kinemon used to actually be a single character that you would play together, and they had to raise the stat to match the number of red scabbards that you have found. Though the results are totally different, Momonosuke still does scale with the number of red scabbards you have. Originally, Luffy focused much more on kind of the samurai path of using characters, being able to use them to become stronger. Zoro has actually always been about re-rolling, interesting enough, and the number 3. That's less surprising than the re-roll, though. Nami's ability allowed you to gain lightning tokens and then eventually use all of those lightning tokens at once to do extra damage on a different roll. That ability eventually did become Kid's ability in the long run. For a long time, Nami and Kid both had different abilities like that, but Nami lost that ability when we got rid of the berry resource. Usopp's ability actually might win as one of the longest running abilities. Now, he could have done any action that he does in any adjacent region instead of just specifically defend or boss actions that he has now, but still pretty close. Robin's ability has drastically changed since then, but this ability is what eventually evolved into the ability that Komurasaki currently has. Franky no longer has this ability, but for a very long time in development, Franky did have the ability to move samurai that now Kinemon has. So this ability is also one of the oldest abilities in the game. It just is no longer on Franky. You may know something about stamina tokens. I believe the stamina ability you see above, if you use that, allowed you to place that many stamina tokens on characters. But to be totally honest, I don't remember what that was. But the idea here, I believe, is that Sanji was supporting other characters by giving them food or whatever so that they can support people fighting in other areas. Stamina being a mechanic, Chopper was using it to heal characters. Once again, without remembering what stamina did, I don't totally know what this does. And it is a drastically different ability than he currently has. And here it is. Here is Law and the actual mechanic that has been in the game from the very beginning on the exact same character. It has gone more specific, but Law has always been about switching the locations of 2 things and or 2 players and or bosses. The main thing that he's lost is you no longer can switch the spaces of bosses. We realized that moving bosses is a bad idea. And lastly, his Kid, which we just made this ability but instead of junk tokens, it's swords, and he no longer gains them. This game's on Kickstarter right now. You should check it out.